Defeat in Delhi for the BJP. India's ruling party gets thumped in the capital. But was this really a vote against Narendra Modi? I'm Maria Ramos, and today's newsmaker is New Delhi's election result. Eight months ago, the BJP swept to victory in India's national elections, but at state level, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his party haven't fared so well. A stunning defeat saw the Aam Aadmi Party take 62 out of 70 seats in Delhi's Legislative Assembly. Now, the BJP was never expected to win, but after such a resounding victory last year, it may have been hoping to perform slightly better. Throughout the campaign, though, a lot of the ruling party's rallies centred on the controversial Citizenship Amendment Act, which has led to nationwide protests, especially in the capital. So can the poll results be seen as a rejection of Narendra Modi's Hindu nationalism policies? That debate in a moment, but first, Adam Pletz has this report.
The reformist Aam Aadmi Party has won a sweeping victory in the New Delhi state elections in what it says is a triumph of policy over populism.
The people of Delhi have given birth to a new kind of politics, the politics of work.
For years, AAP leader Arvind Kejriwal has championed the fight against corruption. His campaign has focused on the party's successful record in providing education, healthcare and basic services.
There has been huge change here. Before Kejriwal came to power, most of our money used to go to electricity, and we didn't have consistent water supply. Now, both those problems have been solved.
The AAP has taken 62 of the 70 seats, with the remainder going to the Bharatiya Janata Party, which at national level secured a landslide majority in last year's general election. During an acrimonious campaign, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi suggested the AAP had orchestrated demonstrations against the BJP's controversial citizenship legislation.
बीते कई दिनों से सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल को लेकर प्रदर्शन हुए। क्या ये प्रदर्शन सिर्फ एक संयोग है? जी नहीं, ये संयोग नहीं, ये एक प्रयोग है।
BJP critics say the Delhi elections are a sign the tide is turning against Modi's brand of Hindu populism. But, as in other states, voters tend to return to the BJP when it comes to national elections.
The local issues are there. There are no national issues at this juncture. For the national issues, we will go for BJP, but for local issues, the person who has worked very hard, we have to vote for him.
Nonetheless, as the BJP's first major test since its flagship Citizenship Act was passed, do the Delhi results send a signal that the party should change direction? Adam Pletz, The Newsmakers.
Well, to discuss this, let's join our panel. And joining me in Mumbai is Preeti Sharma Menon. She's a member of the National Executive and also spokeswoman for the Aam Aadmi Party. Raman Malik joins us from New Delhi. He's a spokesman for the BJP. And also in New Delhi is journalist and author Amit Baruah. Thanks so much for coming on to the Newsmakers. Let's unpack the results. There's a lot to discuss. Big win for the AAP, a huge loss for the BJP. Raman, what happened to your party?
See, there are issues which are under deliberation on the reasons why and how and what all have happened. But yes, if we have to compare and look into the election, I would say that the parameters of understanding an election is not just the win or the loss. Yes, at the end of the day, even if it is a win by just one vote, it is a win. But what is the vote percentile also matters, and which direction is it going, that is also another matter. And what is the margin of vote that also matters for you to understand, or a political party to understand where and what is happening. So yes, where we lost the election, we congratulate the Aam Aadmi Party for winning this election. How they won, whatever they won, at the end of the day, they won, and we congratulate them. And we would be there as a vigilant, constructive, yet a very disciplined and lethal opposition for them to handle. At the same time, I would not also refrain from saying this, that when we are talking about this election, one must not forget that barring the loss of seat that they had from 67 down to 62, which is not much, but at the same time, the vote share increase of BJP, which is a consistent process, plus the differential between Aam Aadmi Party and the winning margins of the last term versus versus this term is substantial. And there is a pattern into voting also, and we are analyzing all figures, because numbers don't lie, and numbers will always tell you with the statistical data how and what where happened.
Okay.
Then you can easily pinpoint the problems.
Okay, Preeti, the numbers, you did very well. What went so well for your party?
I think it's been an incredible election. Maybe 1 month before the election took place as well, it was a given that the Aam Aadmi Party is going to sweep into power, simply because we've done revolutionary work in India. I mean, if you've been following governance in India, you would know that there is a lot of gap between what the
You're not
governments
talking
say
about
that they
India, you're
delivered.
only talking about Delhi.
Please
ma'am,
don't
not
interrupt.
India.
It's really rude. It's really rude. Please don't interrupt. That's not the way to speak.
So
I did
correct
not
yourself.
interrupt you.
Raman, can we just
Please
let
do not-
Preeti have her say? You've had your say. Preeti, please go on.
So I would say that, it's a revolutionary election, because all across India, and I repeat my point, there is a big gap between delivery of what the governments say that they do and what the actual work done on the ground is. For example, public healthcare and public education in India has always been so poor that only the poorest of poor, sometimes only people below poverty line, avail it. And anybody who has even a slightly decent income, which is not much by Indian standards, even the lower middle class, chooses to use private facilities because the government facilities are so poor. So the Aam Aadmi Party government was revolutionary in the fact that we revolutionized and delivered basic services.
Okay.
We made education and healthcare of international standards. We've provided basic amount of electricity, water free to the poorer people. We've started working on revolutionary things like giving women free bus rides. Women don't have to pay for public transport anymore, so that they use the safer public transport and don't use shady private transport operators, because you know that women's safety is a big issue in Delhi. So we were quite sure that we are going to win this election, actually even a month back, because the response from the public was resounding. The BJP ran a very strong campaign, but it was a very nationalistic campaign. It was not on Delhi issues. They totally bypassed Delhi issues and they ran it on national issues. I think that's where they missed the bus. They didn't run it on local issues and they didn't have a local leader. Their national leadership fought the elections as if they were running a national election. But the Indian electorate is getting smart now. It knows that it needs different capabilities and political parties at the center, and different capabilities for local administration.
Raman, is that where you missed the bus because the BJP focused on nationalistic issues, as Preeti is saying?
No, I think there's a little disconnect. Obviously, media plays a very important role in the management and the execution of an electoral campaign nowadays, whether it is social media or the electronic or the print media. And well, that's another debate altogether, how it and whatever it happened. But then talking about the nationalistic issue, yes, nationalistic issues are very important for us. At the same time, we had raised the local issues, which were kind of being omitted and not reported correctly. If you listen to any of the recording of the speeches given by any of the leaders, you will hear both the issues, the national as well as the local issues. But then, yes, to an extent, I would also accept that somehow we were, the national issues took the center stage, and the local issues that we used to talk about uh, the emphasis on them to be covered by the media was not in an appropriate way, which probably hurt our standing where we are.
Okay, I want to
So,
bring in our
yes.
journalist because you're talking about the media here. Amit, would you say the media is maybe, well, not to blame, but played a huge role here?
Well, I think that, there are sort of clear divisions within the media also. But by and large, the mainstream media is quite friendly towards the BJP. They also report a lot about what the Aam Aadmi Party has done. The Aam Aadmi Party is quite smart in its way it approaches the media. I think that, the discussion that was going on earlier, I think many divisive issues were raised during the campaign. And the Election Commission intervened on a couple of occasions to wrap senior leaders of the BJP, including a Union Minister of State for Finance, for using divisive language. So I think it was a pretty disturbing campaign. But the Aam Aadmi Party really didn't fall into the trap of the BJP on getting into national issues. And they focused on their achievements in the last 5 years in the field of electricity, water, healthcare, schools.
Raman,
and there's little doubt that
Amit, sorry
they
to
were
interrupt.
able to...
Raman, I want to ask a point that you're making there, Amit. Maybe I think you're talking about the hostility of some of these campaigns, correct, by the BJP?
Yeah, I mean, the kind of language
that was used. Exactly.
Was,
Raman, are you proud of that?
It led to a wrap of some
Exactly.
leaders of the
Raman,
BJP being
okay,
wrapped.
let's let Raman answer this. Are you proud of that sort of campaign? I mean, this was your State Minister of Finance, just to quote, because it is quite shocking, these traitors of the nation, shoot them. Were you proud of that campaign, that language?
I think there are two different issues here altogether. The statement that you're quoting is misrepresented by you here, because what the Minister of Finance said exactly was, Desh ke gaddaron ko, those who are traitors to the nation. But the public responded by saying, Goli maro unko. So that means shoot them. Though it was not the minister who said it, it was the public at large who said it. So that is one definition which has to be understood. So that is one issue. But yes, when it comes to national issues, when it comes to the sovereignty of the nation, when it comes to the upholding the constitution of the nation, we are very clear about it that we will not compromise with it. And we have a very hostile neighbor who is just on the brinks of being blackmarked in the FATA, which apparently Turkey as a nation wants to support. And that again is a different issue to be spoken about, because you yourself would not give, let's say, you may give citizenship based on somebody bringing in finance, but you would not give citizenship to, let's say, a religiously persecuted minority. So those divisions, every state, every country is going to do for its own self.
Okay.
Nobody else can tell.
I want to go back to Preeti. Do you think that this was a vote, maybe a referendum actually on Narendra Modi and these divisive, controversial policies that he's put forward in the past few months?
In fact, I hate to admit it, but no, it was not a vote against Narendra Modi at all. If the BJP had not run this hate-filled, nationalistic, agenda-driven campaign, their vote share would have been much lower. The fact that they managed to garner up a vote share is because then they raised the bogey of the fact that the Hindus are in danger. I'd like to submit a small thing. The Hindu civilization has lasted 5,000 years. And now when we have a Hindu nationalistic leader leading the country, why should we be in danger? We outlasted the Mughals, we outlasted the Britishers. I think the Hindu civilization is safe and sound, but the BJP constantly uses that bogey. You please don't interrupt, sir. You're just making a fool of the whole country by, behaving in this manner.
Mind your language, ma'am.
Mind your language as well. Please calm down and speak when your turn is given to you. So I think that the nationalistic agenda of the BJP actually managed to make them at least get past a decent vote share. Otherwise, they wouldn't have got that as well. But what you see today and I don't think that's unique to India, you see it everywhere where the far right is taking control, that untruths have become the new normal.
Raman,
Anybody
your reply
can speak
to
an
that.
untruth and get away with it.
Okay, now, Raman, your reply to that, one by one.
See, I'm sorry, but the lady happens to be from my country, and I'm representing a party and my country also at this time, and I would not be, it would not be nice for me to stoop down to certain levels, which has been exhibited here. But yes, I would only say this much here, that when you're talking about a nation and a civilization, as she was talking about earlier, you must realize that from the borders of the Persian kingdom that was used to be there to the far east, almost crossing Laos and Thailand, this whole civilization was an Hindu civilization that used to be there, and it has been shrinking. So that is another debate which must be talked upon and spoken with historical facts, which I do not know whether Ms. Menon is there to talk about.
Raman
but
and Preeti,
yes,
let's not go back too much in history. We're here to discuss what went wrong and, you know, the result in New Delhi.
See,
okay, let's give it the voice now to Amit. Going forward, okay,
the economy that was there in Venezuela started working on.
Let's
the
not go to
system.
Venezuela if you don't mind. Amit, I want to push the debate forward. Raman, bear with me. Should the BJP rethink its strategy going forward? Because you have lost in 6 states now in the past 2 years. So to the journalist, Amit, should the BJP rethink its strategy going forward?
Well, this is the second election, you know, after the CAA, the Citizenship Amendment Act was passed, which specifically excludes Muslims from obtaining citizenship. So the first was in the state of Jharkhand, where the BJP lost the elections. The thing is that, you know, to have a different narrative, you should be able to have a credible face, which the BJP didn't have either in Jharkhand or in Delhi. And the other thing is that they should be able to speak about certain concrete achievements, which is where the AAP scored heavily. They stuck to their strengths. They didn't get distracted by the issues onto which the BJP wanted them to sort of get embroiled in. And they ran a campaign like that. As far as the BJP is concerned, these issues are very much on its political agenda. And they have, if you recall that in the month of August, they ended the special status for Jammu and Kashmir. And then they went ahead with this very divisive Citizenship Amendment Act, on account of which there are protests across the country in many cities. So we are right now at an inflection point as far as the BJP is concerned. They are, whether they are able to reimagine
Raman,
themselves.
let's let Raman respond now.
No, may I just finish?
Okay, finish your sentence.
So whether or not the BJP is able to reimagine itself and put itself forward as a moderate center-right political party is actually entirely up to them.
Okay.
But the fact is that whatever we've seen of them in the past few years, that seems like a tall order for them.
A tall order, Raman?
See, first of all, let me be very clear. This Citizen Amendment Act is now an act which has been approved by the Parliament of India. And when an act has been approved by the Parliament of India, it is a law of the land which is governed by the Constitution of India and very much there. So that, my friend, should understand before condemning it right now.
Since you refer to me, there is a challenge before the Supreme Court, and every citizen of this country is free to make a point on whatever they feel against any law. There is nothing that prevents us from speaking, Mr. Malik.
Sir, you have freedom of expression, and I very well know that. And I respect that freedom of expression and also the misuse of the same by your kind. There's no issue with that. We generally face that.
I don't know. I don't know what you mean by my kind.
Okay.
But the fact, let's keep this debate civil, and you make your points.
Raman, if you could
Sir,
make
please
your
do not.
point, and I just want to
I
remind you,
would only-
people have died because of this Citizenship Amendment Bill. I myself,
Nobody has-
I'm in the protest.
Nobody has died.
I myself have spoken.
Nobody has died.
Okay, I myself.
Nobody has died because of the Citizenship Amendment Act. All those people
Because of
who have
the
been doing
protests,
unlawful.
we're saying. Because of the protests.
So
okay.
you are not supposed. No
All
country
right.
gives you the right. No constitution gives you the right. Even in your country, the constitution will not give you a right to violently protest. You are given a right to peacefully protest. When you start doing violence, you are breaking the law, and that is in any constitution in any nation across the world. That is a simple set format. You are not given a right to free violence.
Let's continue with with your campaign going forward and the revamp potentially going forward for the BJP.
See, BJP as a organization since inception has certain clear agendas that include nationalism, that include people first, the last man standing first. All our schemes till date in the NDA 2 and NDA 3 now are all focused upon the last man, last mile delivery. And we have been able to drastically reduce the poverty, and that is by the World Bank reports, not by our reports. We have been able to give sanitation. That was something, a basic requirement of a human living. The kind of number of toilets built, the number of gas cylinders reaching, the number of bank accounts, the number of people getting the benefit of state-sponsored healthcare.
Okay, let's
and
bring
not
in
just
Preeti.
in one state, but all across the nation.
Preeti, would you agree with what Raman is saying?
No, actually, I'd like to give a national perspective to Delhi's win. You see, the BJP came into power in the background of the Congress party, which is the traditional party, which was riddled with corruption, which was riddled with inefficiencies. So BJP came into the power of, the pride of the nation, and obviously a lot of scaremongering that the minorities would attack us. But today, and everybody was quite intimidated, as you can see how the BJP spokesperson is fairly intimidating towards the media and towards various other people. So the whole country was intimidated. But the Delhi win by a party which is absolutely new in Indian politics. We are just not even 8 years old. We have twice defeated the BJP completely with a thumping majority, 67 out of 70 and now 62 out of 70. We could have faced anti-incumbency, which we did.
Also mention that you do not have you do not have the civil government, the local government. You do not have.
Please let Preeti finish, Raman.
Please do not interrupt. So what this raises is a kind of roadmap for other state governments, regional governments, because India is made up of many small regions which are culturally fairly diverse. At the same time, we are all together because we are one country. These regional parties could now position themselves through delivery. If they can deliver a better lifestyle to their local populations, then perhaps they can beat this nationalistic jargon and the threat kind of perception that the BJP creates in order to win election. So it has given a roadmap. It may be a small start, but I think, like the journalist on your panel just said, that this may be the inflection point that the country has been waiting for the last 6 years.
Okay.
This just might be it.
Is this an inflection point? Let's go back to our journalist, Amit.
Well, I think that the BJP is a party which can really whip up passions. They can use a lot of rhetoric, a lot of scaremongering. There's a lot of fear in the country amongst the Muslim community, especially that they may be excluded if there is a NRC, National Register of Citizens exercise. Large number of state governments have, the state assemblies have passed resolutions against this. But coming back to the Aam Aadmi Party, I think there is no doubt that it is a pretty fantastic victory. Getting 54% nearly of the vote, just about half a percentage point drop in 5 years is a fantastic performance. And I think it does put some pressure on them to perform further, because it's not going to be a cakewalk. There is a lot of pressure. The central government, as you know, exercises a lot of power in Delhi, and there is a differentiation in responsibilities, and sometimes there's an overlap. So last time we did see some conflict with the central government. So it remains to be seen how Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal will position himself this time and ensure that delivery and development continues. while politics is played.
Raman.
But I think there's nothing to take away from the Aam Aadmi Party victory, which is a super victory. And, contrary to whatever BJP spokespersons were saying till the last minute that they will get 48 seats, 49 seats. And if you press the button on the EVM, the current will be felt in a place called Shaheen Bagh, where there are anti-CAA protests going on. So this kind of fear-mongering, finally, people didn't, succumb to. And people of all communities, religions, castes have voted for the Aam Aadmi Party. And that definitely is a success for the party.
Okay, one quick word from you, Raman. We have 30 seconds to go. Final words.
Okay. So if the work was so important and the work was what has made them happen, then probably the man who was credited to transform education in Delhi, the Deputy Chief Minister, would not have, crawled is the word, to win the election by just 3,000 votes, where he was around 28,000 votes.
Raman, we have run out of time, Raman, and I am sorry, I'm interrupting you. Thank you all for joining us on the Newsmakers. It's been a fascinating debate, and to you, the audience, see you next time here on the Newsmakers. Bye-bye for now.